Hello, I'm Christy Kelly, Executive Director of the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. I am pleased to celebrate a remarkable milestone with you, the 15th anniversary of the creation of the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. 15 years ago, the voters of Palm Beach County made a powerful and decisive decision. They chose to create an independent watchdog agency dedicated to upholding the principles of transparency, integrity, and accountability in local government. This decision marked the beginning of a vital mission, one that remains as relevant and important today as it was back then. At the heart of the Commission on Ethics is our mission: to foster integrity in public service and increase the public's trust in government. We are committed to promoting transparency and fairness while working to prevent corruption, conflicts of interest, and misuse of office within local government through ongoing education programs, training, and community outreach. We guide, educate, and hold accountable those in positions of power, including local elected officials, appointed officials, and public employees, so that our community can have confidence in its leadership. I'm excited to share a few segments with you where the Commission on Ethics commissioners, who are dedicated volunteers appointed by various community stakeholders, discuss the impact of the Commission on Ethics and the importance of ethical leadership in fostering trust in public institutions. Thank you for celebrating with us and for your ongoing support over the past 15 years.
Welcome to Special Edition. I'm Liz Martin with Palm Beach County's Commission on Ethics. I have with me Michael Krydell, who's our chair of the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics, and I also have with me Peter Cruz, our vice chair of the Commission on Ethics. How does the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics add value to our community?
Some of it is accrued and some of it is earned. It's a difficult ethics generally for the average voter or average citizen is a difficult concept to put their arms around. And a large part of what we do with the citizens and with the employees of the county is educate them as to how ethics plays in, what are the values of being an ethical person, an employee, and also having an attitude of expectation of ethical behavior from those around them.
All right. And Peter, what would you consider those values?
Yeah, following on with what Michael said, I think in a more pragmatic sense of value, doing business here in Palm Beach County in the past was considered you had to pay to play. And the voters, of course, established the Ethics Commission and the Inspector General Commission. And businesses now feel that there is a much better ethical climate here in Palm Beach County. And of course, that adds to the bottom line. Good ethics is good business.
Right. So with that, why is it important to have an independent Commission on Ethics?
Of course, to make it credible, you really can't oversee yourself. That's sort of a simple way of saying that if you want an oversight of any kind of organization, the best and the most above board is to have a group that is not reporting to you or being paid by you or sits at the pleasure of you. And it just adds to credibility.
Right. And Michael, let me ask you then, why is it important to have a diverse group of volunteers from the community that sit on the commission board?
We start with the fact that we have a very diverse county generally. And I think that that boards, whether they're oversight or they're legislative, needs to reflect the population and the interests and the needs of the community.
Okay. And then, so let me ask then here, is our 15th anniversary for the Palm Beach County Commission on Ethics. What has been the greatest change you've seen with your time on the commission here?
Every couple of years, faces change. But besides that, what we've seen, what I've seen personally, is there is more curiosity about the commission than there used to be. At the same time, there's a related increased understanding of what it does, what it's charged with, as opposed to what they thought it would be.
Okay. Are we doing better, Peter, at it locally?
I think we're doing very much better at it. This is only my 7th year on the commission. Chair Krydell has got a few more years experience in this than I do. But the way the commission is structured with 5 different organizations and sectors appointing the commissioners, I think that assures diversity already. We're not just drawing from one pool. I have the honor of being the representative from Florida Atlantic University, and as someone who teaches ethics, I find it's interesting to bring an academic perspective sometimes to some of the discussions that we have regarding the complaints that we listen to.
And then as we again think about the anniversary, what has been the biggest obstacle in making sure we get the community on board?
There was a substantial legislative change mid-year that the agencies are still getting used to and working under those terms.
Okay. And what do you say, Peter?
That's an excellent point. And the other obstacle we had was visibility. And of course, you joined the organization a while back, and you're helping to try to raise our public profile. Sometimes when we've gone to people and say we're on the Commission on Ethics, they say, "Oh, what's that?" And we need one. And I said, well, we've actually had one for about 15 years now. So we need to keep getting that word out all the time. It's hard to stay above all the information overflow we have today, but we're glad you're here to help us do that.
Thank you. And so what are we doing well in terms of advancing the commission? For the last 15 years, I know that we have different legislative things that are going on, new positions, but what has been the greatest change as far as the public's perception of ethics?
I don't think the public has been exposed to a commission or an agency with as much deliberate outreach as we have presented. It's a major part of our activities. And I think that that's surprising to a lot of citizens, and also to a lot of the agencies and commissions and departments themselves.
As you mentioned, we work well with education and outreach. And where has that led to as far as now? Where are we doing now, those initiatives and efforts?
Well, we at FAU 2 years ago started an ethics and leadership summer camp for high school students. And we've had the Commission on Ethics personnel, yourself, one of them, to come in and talk to the high schoolers. And there's an annual high school ethics bowl that we have every year, and Ethics Commission people have served as judges on that. And I think getting the young population thinking in an ethical mode helps our job down the line, so we don't have to catch a problem that could have had an intervention much earlier in life. And so that's one of the biggest things, I think.
Let me also add this.
Sure.
Ethics is a difficult subject, generally. And what I found when I've talked to people about it, and I teach ethics professional ethics around the country, is that parents and children don't talk about ethics as much as they should. And so generation after generation has ethical challenges that are different than the previous one. And so we're having to adjust to that, how we deliver and how we explain.
Right. And so I'm probably going to add to that and say we often get a number of calls about harassment. We get calls about HOAs. That's not exactly what we do. So what does the Code of Ethics cover?
Well, it's a very prescriptive document that tells you what not to do if you are elected, appointed, working, or lobbying the public sector here in Palm Beach County. We have 39 municipalities and a couple special district governments, and we have lots of people that work, are employees for those organizations. And then we have a lobbyist group that we keep the lobbyist database here in the Ethics Commission. And first, that a law and an ordinance tells you what not to do. It's it says, thou shalt not do this, that, or the other. If you do, here are the penalties. So I think we've been very good on compliance, which is what we are. We're a compliance organization. We can only deal with, you mentioned, other things that are not in our purview, we get calls about, and we can only do what's in the ordinance. We're a government of laws, not of men, as the founders said, and sometimes, and I'm sure Mr. Kreidel gets the same inquiry, someone comes up and say, I have an ethical question for you, and we find out it may be a very bad thing, but it's not anything we can do anything about. So we try to say, well, maybe go here, maybe go there, and it's not that it's not a problem, and it's not that it's not ethical or unethical, it's just that we only enforce what the voters put in the ordinance.
And now, do you think we are a better, more ethical community in Palm Beach County?
I would say yes. I don't think it can be measured,
Okay.
but I think that based on what I hear from people and what I read and my travels around the country, I see the difference.
All right, Peter?
Yes, I think Chair Kreidel did point out very rightly, we've been asked, how do you know what you're preventing? Because there's no way to keep track of that. But what we've seen, I think, over the time I've been here, is a big increase in letters of inquiry, like, I'm planning to do this, will that be a violation? And then we issue our opinions. And I've seen some people ask for what to me seem very, very simple things, which is fine when we respond. And so that volume means that people are thinking about this might be a problem. So I think the motto, of course, we've had since the beginning is ask first, act later. Because if you act and then it's a problem, then we can't go back. We just have to go forward with the process.
All right. Thanks for joining me, commissioners. I'm Liz Martin with Palm Beach County's Commission on Ethics. Palm Beach County's Commission on Ethics 15th anniversary is this year. We are Palm Beach County's one-stop shop for enforcement, investigation, and education. Thanks for joining me on Special Edition. Welcome back to Special Edition. I am now joined by the full Commission on Ethics, and they'll give a brief introduction.
Chair Michael Kreidel.
Vice Chair Peter Cruz.
Commissioner Kristen Vara-Garcia.
Commissioner Michael Kugler.
Commissioner Rodney Romano.
Thanks for joining me. I'd like to ask or start with, how does the Commission contribute to the well-being of the community through its work with local government?
So really, the well-being of the community is served so greatly by the Commission because it ensures integrity and honesty in our public officials, which we all expect and need because our tax money, our hard-earned money, is going into that tax pool. And so the people that are using that money need to use it responsibly. And the Commission overseeing and making sure that that happens is a critical part of government responsibility.
Thank you.
And jumping off what he was saying, I think one of the missions of the Commission on Ethics is education. So the staff at the Commission on Ethics really goes out and they educate, they take meetings with various members of the community, with various government institutions, and they train them on the code of ethics so that they can ensure that there aren't any violations. I think training is essential to ensuring that there are not violations of public trust, which is what the Commission on Ethics was designed to do, to instill public trust.
Thank you. Ethical dilemmas can be complex. How does the commission ensure fairness and objectivity in its decisions?
So first, we rely on the Code of Ethics. So that is our mainstay. That's where we turn to first in determining if there's a violation, if there is a potential violation that is going to come down because of some action or planned action. But we also really rely heavily on staff and our stakeholders within the Commission on Ethics. Our investigators, we rely on them to do the thorough, great investigations that they do, to do comprehensive investigations, to gather the facts that we can rely on. We rely on our general counsel to point us in the right direction sometimes when we aren't sure where to look in the Code of Ethics. So we rely heavily on our stakeholders and the whole team of the Commission on Ethics to guide us in the right direction.
And each of us has a different perspective because each of us is appointed by a different stakeholder in the county. I'm League of Cities, others are Board of Accountancy or the Sheriff's Department and the like. And so we bring a different perspective. So the kind of the 2 heads or 6 heads are better than 1, 5 heads are better than 1, helps bring a better perspective to the whole process.
Exactly. And so with that, it sounds like education is a big part of that, awareness is a big part of that. And how is that accomplished in the community with the commission?
Well, I'll take that
Okay.
since I'm the official educator. I teach ethics at Florida Atlantic University, and we ask the Commission on Ethics staff to come in for various events we have. We have the Regional High School Ethics Bowl that my colleagues have served as judges for, and we also now have a summer camp on ethics training for high school students in conjunction with the school district. And so realize how important it is to have education out there, especially with the generation coming up.
Right. And so with that, I'm going to go back about 15 years. It's our 15th anniversary. That has not always been the case in Palm Beach County. So what has been the greatest change you've seen in those 15 years from our inception to now?
So I think that we have tried our best to get more public buy-in. Government just doesn't work unless people, the citizens, support it and believe in it. And so through a system of training, and I want to emphasize, catching and punishing wrongdoers is not our primary goal.
Exactly.
Keeping people out of trouble to begin with is our primary goal. And so by doing what we do, we try to instill confidence, well-founded confidence, in the citizens of the county so that the government can be free to work in their benefit.
What is the biggest, maybe ethical challenge facing our public officials today, as well as, let's say, the county employees?
I would say one of the ethical challenges that we have seen as a commission come up time and time again is conflicts of interest. Whether that be with family members working for the same governmental entity or a government employee either having a second job or volunteering. We have a lot of great government employees who volunteer on the side, and just making sure that those volunteer activities, those second jobs, don't conflict with their responsibilities in their main job, and to make sure that they steer clear of any type of conflict. So a lot of the times we see governmental entities or governmental workers seeking opinions from the Commission on Ethics to make sure that any desired action that they would like to take isn't going to be in conflict with the code. And really that's an important part of why we're here, is to make sure that they are able to continue serving the community outside of their day job if they'd like to, that they can take that second job if they want to, that they can encourage their family member to join the same governmental institution that they work for if it's a great job and they love it, but also making sure that there's not a violation of public trust when they do that.
Right.
Both Commissioner Romano and Commissioner Vargas Garcia have put two really incredible things together. And a big part of what we do is advising government officials, people that are involved in the government or vendors, as to what they can do and what they can't do. And what I find so amazing about this commission is we are asking people not to come to us once something has happened,
right,
to come to us before something has happened to ensure that what they're doing is consistent with our commission code, the ethics, and public trust. And when they do that, and then they can do something else on the side or something different in addition to their regular government responsibilities, and help the community, and the community knows that it's something that this person is doing that is above board and ethical.
Right. Commissioner Cruz, with that, I'm thinking it doesn't cover everything. We don't cover every ethical dilemma that happens in the county. And why is that?
Well, our ethics ordinance, which was updated in 2021, only is a few pages, relatively few, for an ordinance. And we can't think of everything. We have the major areas. Commissioner Vargas-Garcia brought up conflict of interest is a very common one we get asked about. But actually what we try to do is encourage, as Commissioner Kugler said, if there's any doubt after you look at the ordinance or go through the training, ask us specifically in advance for our opinion, and we will give you the official Ethics Commission opinion, because not every conflict of interest covers, for example, a very wide area. Some things might appear to be, but aren't actually. Some things that might not appear to you are a violation of the ethics ordinance. So it's better to call us, because if we wrote down everything, we would never stop.
Right. And we definitely have a wide database of all these different kinds of opinions, as well as the complaints that's available to the public. So, Commissioner Kreidel, then what do you see as maybe the greatest obstacle for the commission moving forward the next 15 years?
It starts at home. I have had the benefit of teaching ethical decision-making to high school seniors in Broward County since about 1992. It's a full-day course, and what I've discovered very early and still see today after all those years is that parents have a difficult time discussing ethical issues with their children because it's threatening. And what is happening is that children are getting pressure about their ethics and their values and how to make good decisions as they grow and leave the home. So you've got this challenge to parents as their children's brains have developed, as well as the cognitive resources of the brains that are used in making good decisions. But parents can't communicate with their children because they don't have that knowledge. So it's a very difficult position for the children to be in, where they're being forced to, by age, go into the workplace, go into society, and make these challenging decisions without a good foundation for how to do it. And that comes back and hits us all over and over again.
If I could add on to that, people approach all of us with questions about ethical dilemmas. Of course, we only regulate public sector behavior. We don't regulate private business behavior. And the kinds of questions we get asked are sometimes not legally sufficient, is the term of art, that it's not written down in our ordinance, so we can't deal with it. It's still maybe a big problem, a big issue. We don't have jurisdiction, and we try to point people in the right direction. And one thing that we regulate public behavior is because they're spending our money. It's other people's money they're using. That's sort of the fundamental reason why we exist. If they were doing something privately, that's private behavior. But since they're spending tax dollars, that's why we're here.
I think also there's something about being an elected official. I truly believe most elected officials run for office because they want to do some good. But oftentimes they're not prepared for the onslaught of people who want to be in their ear once they get elected, from fix my pothole to fix my road, in my case, to I want a zoning variance to build 10 stories where only 5 are allowed. And those lines can get blurred for people who aren't prepared or trained in the rules of ethics. And we try to help those elected officials know where the line is. For example, with lobbyists, it's very, very tempting to cross over that line. You know, so what if I take a gift of a ticket to a banquet or a plane ride somewhere? What's the big deal? But it is a big deal. And I think that by having a group of people who don't have a dog in the fight, other than to help everybody do the right thing, gives them a resource that helps them be better elected officials, and which engenders more confidence in the people.
Absolutely.
I'm going to add just one more thing to this, which is this. 15 years ago when this commission started, this place was known as Corruption County, right? And the work of the commission and the ethics ordinances and everything that has been done here has really turned that on its head. And this county is a model for responsible government. But the biggest challenge is, over the last 5 or so years, there's a general significant increase in distrust in government and the people that are in government. And that's why entities like the Commission on Ethics help add to the credibility of government, the honesty and the integrity of that government, which hopefully counteracts those other forces.
Good. So what will the lasting impression be for our community about this commission? What type of impression would you like them to have?
That we're not a pay-to-play county, and that we do have an ethics bedrock here, and so it's a good place to do business.
Anyone else?
I think in a best-case scenario, nobody knows who we are, but the effects of what we do show with better government. But if we become well-known, it's because people are doing the wrong thing instead of the right thing. Our work is not to get the spotlight, but rather to try to help people do what their tax dollars are intended to do.
Thanks for joining me, commissioners. I'm Liz Martin with Palm Beach County's Commission on Ethics. Palm Beach County's Commission on Ethics 15th anniversary is this year. We are Palm Beach County's one-stop shop for enforcement, investigation, and education. Thanks for joining me on Special Edition.